You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to learn more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where we have past podcasts, blogs, and a couple items for sale. So check us out, beardedtheologians.com. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold.
So this week, Zach, I think a good question for us to wrestle with is how can we have healthy evangelism during the Christmas season?
Sure. One of the things that, and I'm guilty of it too, back in my early years of ministries of being really frustrated with people and even looking down my nose at folks who only came to church Christmas and Easter. And every year at Christmas and Easter, I see blogs and snarky posts on Facebook about, C&E people, they're going to be at Christmas, so they're going to be at Easter. This is the only time they ever come to church. And frankly, as I have grown in ministry and come to appreciate deeply anytime somebody's in church, I love when people come Christmas and Easter, even if that's the only time that they come, because the two messages they get throughout the year are hope, love, and salvation. I mean, what is it? What does this journey as a Christian mean? We get that at Christmas and we get that at Easter. And what better Sundays to be in church and have a full house and have families together. And what I love about that is it gives people this picture that God loves them, that there is hope, whether it is in the life, death, and resurrection of Christ. You get that story throughout Christmas and Easter. And if that's the way that you're going to end your year, essentially in December, is starting with the birth of Christ and the hope that brings today, and get an extra dose of that hope with resurrection at Easter, I think there's something big and important there that we miss when we're snarky and frustrated that, it's like when folks show up to go on a mission trip and that's all they do throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's great. They're getting something, right? They're getting to go and help people. They're getting to see how God's love and grace is working within them and with the community. And Christmas and Easter are the same. And when we look at it in terms of salvation, what better time to be able to preach that message for folks in a relevant way, and they want to be there, and they're in a way that just their souls soak it up for the year.
So as you were talking, I was thinking of like this service, you're hopefully you have a Christmas Eve services. I actually had served in a church where they were like, we don't do a Christmas Eve service, and like I didn't have any of that, and we slowly changed that process.
Only two of the three of my churches do. Now the third church attends, but they don't have their own in their house.
But you as a pastor, like share,
Yes.
I mean, so it's a shared congregation, so it's a little bit different. But like
right.
in the situation, if you have a congregation, like if your congregation does a Christmas service, like that should be the service that almost needs to be mandatory for discipleship, that everybody has to make at least one invitation, because it's such an easy service to sell, because you know what you're going to get. You're going to have the Christmas hymns. You're going to sing Silent Night. You're going to have communion. I mean, you're going to have those things that like everybody knows kind of what to expect, because they've seen Home Alone and they've seen the scenes, and like they know what it's going to be like. And like that should almost be like this Sunday, if you're preaching this Sunday and your congregation's like getting ready, and no matter where they're going, like if they're not going to be there because they're going to go be with family, encourage them to take their family to a local church to experience Christmas. Because you're right, Zach, it's the one time a year where we can share the story of our why, of who we are, why this is important, and there's so much that goes into it. I mean, I don't like to use, I think every Sunday is a Super Bowl. So like, I don't like to use the Super Bowl now. I think every Sunday is as important. But what a better way to bring people in than to say, hey, let's share the story, and then have your best hospitality teams, your best, like have the best of your best there to be loving and welcoming and accepting and meet people where they're at and not put guilt on them for not being
Mhm.
there in the past. I think that that's like the big thing, that if we can encourage our people not to do that, but
Right.
to be the people who we are all the rest of the Sundays out there of the year, hopefully that's a good thing. I mean, maybe they do need some improvement on being,
For
but
sure.
maybe with that anticipation of hope, love, joy, and peace this Sunday, if you don't have anything to preach on, maybe a preaching on how we can be the beloved community this service, and being open to that. And I think if we do that, if we open ourselves up to that, it only strengthens our churches, and it provides a space for people to really feel what this
Mhm.
season is truly about.
Well, and not only does it strengthen your churches, it strengthens your community when people know they can have a place,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have to be every Sunday if that's not their thing. I'm a firm believer in people are where they need to be, and if that's not on church on Sundays, that's okay. God's there wherever they are, and if Christmas Eve becomes that place where it's the invitation in with the expectation of here's wherever you are,
Yeah.
be there, but when you need to be here, the door's always open. We're always here for you, whether that's in our sanctuary or out in the community or whatever. It's building those relationships,
And
and it's huge.
I think that's where that invitation of the next step is important. And so,
Mhm.
like, if you say, hey, if you like being around us tonight, like, this is kind of how it is most Sundays. And so just come and be a part of us and we'll connect you
Mhm.
in, or like put the contact information of how to take that next step available to them, and not have that next step available to them, because you never know, someone may take that next step. We have a church member right now who is very active in our church, who their first time here was Christmas Eve, and it was
Mhm.
because an invitation was made to come to a course, and so they came to that course, which then led them to the other things,
Mhm.
and now, like, and that's one person. But could you imagine, like, if every church had at least one person that did that because that invitation was made? That
Mhm.
would go a long way. And I think when we get ready for this season, like, don't let, like, you don't want to bring your B game
Mhm.
church. You want to bring your A game, and we should do that every Sunday, but like this one is even more important, because it is the one time a year where some people do only come 2 times a year, 1 time a year. And if we can provide our best, maybe that just makes them feel a little bit connected.
I would say I would define even our A game not as being perfect, because I
Right.
don't know that that's helpful.
No.
I would define our A game as authentic. Just be
Well, yeah.
you,
Ooh,
right?
maybe that should be our
Um,
book. Bring your A game. Being
bring
the
your A game,
authentic church. Being your
right?
authentic church. I mean, hey, we just wrote our book.
That's right. But that's the thing is when people do come and visit our churches, regardless of the time of year, if we're not authentic in how we worship and how we present ourselves and the message and everything that goes along with worship, people see right through that. And so it's not about perfection. It's not about doing all the right things and checking all the right boxes and putting on a beautiful service. It's about being open with who you are and where you are and how God breathes life into us in such an authentic way. Because people have good BS meters, man,
Yeah.
especially this time of year. And so I think it's less about the perfection of worship and more about just being authentic, and that how hope is birthed into the world at this time.
So we want to encourage you to be, you know, uh,
Authentic.
authentic. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be the real you. And open yourself up to the possibilities of what that could mean for the Christmas season. Because it is a season. You get 3 Sundays this year of Christmas stuff. So or
Mhm.
really 2, and then Christmas Eve. So technically 3 series of Christmas stuff. So take it in while you can, and make those invitations authentic and real, where people can feel connected and loved and cared for. With that in mind, next week we'll have our last podcast for the year, and then we'll take a week off. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one to share with you. We'll have a special guest on, but we're thankful for you and all that you've done this year with us and listened to us and provided comments and feedback. That we enjoy that, and we love having the conversation. I mean, Zach and I definitely, this has become a spiritual practice for us that has been healthy and allows us to process some things and other things, and we're just thankful for you. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Merry Christmas.
We hope you've enjoyed the conversations that we've had today on the Bearded Theologians Beardcast, and we'd encourage you to continue those conversations online at beardedtheologians.com or on our Facebook page. We also hope that you pick up a couple of coffee mugs to satisfy your coffee mug collection. Have a good day.